The following is a Productions original series.
Hello and welcome to Walk and Roll Live. I'm Doug Vincent, and along with us is Addie Rich. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Welcome back. I am a polio survivor, crutch and brace user for years, and transitioned into a wheelchair over the last 20 years or so. And you?
I am a cerebral palsy survivor, whatever.
Yeah.
I use a walker now mostly, and I'm headed toward a wheelchair. For a long while, I fought that all, but here we are now, and it's good.
And you've got one coming, right?
I've got one coming. Yes, they told
as
me.
do I, and which is perfect for the guest we have today. Is
right.
Somebody that knows all about durable medical equipment, DME they call it, and that's coming up in just a little bit. I want to find out how was your week? Did you have a good? Well, you know what? Hang on a second. Got to know how your week is. We have firsthand knowledge of what's going on in the southeast section of our country, and if you've seen any of the pictures, it is heartbreaking. But thank goodness that Addie hasn't experienced all of that, but has been touched by what's Helene? Is that the hurricane?
Yeah, it was Helene. She was mean. We had water in our basement and water throughout our basement apartment. So we spent Friday trying to beat it coming in by getting it out with a wet vac and those kind of things. So yeah, but it was nothing, honestly, compared to the people in Asheville or the people in Florida. So nothing to cry about, but definitely going to be a few weeks of cleanup.
I was talking to my buddy Forrest, who's been on the show a couple of times today, and I was mentioning to him, you know, my whole life I've seen this, and I still can't really wrap my mind around when I see a full-size, what looks like a full-size 3-bedroom, 2-bath home floating down a body of water, all intact. I mean, like, how does that happen? You know,
I know. I know.
So crazy.
And it's not as common that it comes this way, typically like every 10, 12 years. So a lot of the places that we're hit now are not prepared in the same way that like Florida knows, okay, put up your hurricane shutters, do those things to get ready. People here and in North Carolina certainly weren't on the row of getting ready.
And if you remember, Addie is in the Atlanta area, and that's what, 350 miles inland from the shore, right?
Yeah. We're really far inland.
Yeah.
She took a turn and decided she was coming up instead of like sticking to the coast, which she does a lot.
And I heard that at some points it's like 250 miles wide. You know, where a tornado is probably, I don't know, just not 250 miles wide. It's like maybe 20 to 30 miles wide.
It made landfall as a Category 4, which typically is not common. Like it will not be that, you know, full of wind and everything. Like it'll have calmed down by the time it hits landfall. So the fact that it hit landfall at a Cat 4 was huge. Yeah.
So, you know, of course, all of our thoughts and prayers going out. You know, I've heard people say, well, what a prayer is going to do. But I know I've heard a number of people that they've been interviewing say, keep the prayers coming. So we will definitely do that.
You can do right now.
Yeah. And I know Red Cross has some information out there. We'll try to put something up on our resource page, too, so you can find that easily. Anything else besides that this week of note?
That is pretty much the trumper. How about you?
Yeah, nothing huge. A lot of little things. I just wanted to share with you. I do Instacart. I don't know if that's nationwide, so I don't know if all of our listeners will be.
Instacart's my jam.
Good.
Independence.
So I've had a number of times when it's just, you know, it's gone awry. So I ordered some chicken breasts, and when you go to boneless, skinless chicken breasts, there's a picture of a chicken breast, and you know, there, whatever it is, you know, $4.99 a pound, and and then it'll say each breast is about $1.14. And I swear, I can't say 100%, but I swear I've ordered them before, and I've said, I want 6 of them, you know, and then when I get them, I bag them up and freeze them up. So I did the same thing. So they deliver the groceries. You know where this is going, right?
I do.
So I get one bag one shopping bag to the top is full of chicken. I have 6 packages of the one I've opened one, and it had 3 in there, but I think the others have as many as 5.
You're good for the year.
Exactly.
Not need chicken, people.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that happened to me a few weeks ago, but I got my order plus somebody's order, and it was 4 different creamers, 2 huge things of hot dogs, like random stuff that I was like, wow, this person, what? First of all, how did it show up? Second of all,
yeah, I haven't gotten a complete order, but I've got a number of items sometimes, like, and like some things are like, oh, I never thought about getting popsicles, and I eat those for a couple months.
Right?
Got the big box.
Exactly. Right?
So, and too, I did that
with
I did it with celery one time. I ordered, they were showing a picture with, a bundle. What do you call them?
Yeah, I think it's a bundle.
Of celery. So I ordered one. I got one stalk of celery. And I'm like, well, that's weird. So the next time, I thought, okay, if they're going to sell them one at a time, I want 3. Guess what showed up?
3 bunches.
3 bunches. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
it's all open to interpretation.
Yeah. I guess. But I will tell you, I got to say, I love Instacart. I love everything they do. I have those are just a couple of funny stories. Everything else they do is great. I love it. I get what I want and all that. So yeah, let me say that.
We're not slamming you. We're just laughing at you.
Yeah.
We're laughing with you.
Yes. Yeah. Oh gosh. And then I went and had my vaccinations this morning. Got a couple.
Good job.
I got the RSV, and then I got my flu shot. And I think I'm taking a pause on the COVID right now. I've had 3, and I've had COVID, so yeah, just going to take a little pause on that. So far, so good. No soreness. I rarely get any kind of reaction to any of the vaccines. And then also, while I was out, I thought I generally I'll get a coffee, get a mocha or something like that. I thought I'm going to try the pumpkin spice because I love pumpkin. I love pumpkin pie. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't eat it all year, but around Thanksgiving, the holidays, I'll have some pumpkin pie.
Right.
Pumpkin spice.
Oh my goodness.
I couldn't finish
it. You're off the team, Doug.
Yeah.
Who did you get the pumpkin spice from?
I got it from a place called Coffee and Tea Leaves.
Okay.
It's a chain, but
not to rep anybody or disrep anybody, but I've tried various ones, and there are a few that I'm not a fan, and then there are others that I'm a fan. But
not a whole lot of the pumpkin spice flavor.
Yeah, well, what I was going to say is I think the only reason I like it is because it's a holiday thing. It's like the kickoff to holiday. Not that I actually like how it tastes or like that I really like
That's
it. I'm just,
what I was going for, yes. But, it was too sweet, too rich, so.
Yeah.
But, not for everybody.
Hey, man, good for trying.
The other thing I wanted to mention today is a couple of things. I stumbled upon an episode of 30 for 30. Are you familiar with it? It's on ESPN. It's always sports related.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's filmmakers that do a sports related story, and I stumbled upon this one called Stolen Gold. And it's about the 2000 Paralympics in Sydney, Australia, where Spain had, of 12 athletes on the basketball team, only 2 had intellectual disabilities, and the rest were passed off. It was a whole scandal.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Put that on the list.
It's interesting. It's about 90 minutes. If you get a chance, check it out. But of course, right in our wheelhouse, it's like,
right.
What? And they really were, you've never heard of it, I'm sure. I had never heard of it. I think they managed, as big as it was in Spain, they contained it there. I don't think the rest of the world really is privy to it. So now in this episode of 30 for 30, it gets out there. Man, there's some despicable human beings on this planet, just so you know. And then the other thing, Casa Colina in our area is just a premier hospital when it comes to disabilities, like physical therapy and SCIs, TBIs. They also do research, and they branched out into so many things, autism and so many others, too many to count. Go on their website at CasaCalina.org and you'll see what I'm talking about. So we had a nice conversation with them because I invited them to come on, and I had like an hour Zoom call with one of their associates. Went really well. So looking forward to having them on in a few weeks and learn about what they're doing over at Casa Calina. So I think that's all I have. I have a question, and I kind of teased you with it, but I didn't tell you what the question was. So, but I'd like to get your input.
Sure.
And I don't know if I definitely have an answer, but I want to put it out to our listeners, and hopefully they'll email in and kind of give us their thoughts on it. Today, of course, online dating apps are all the rage. So if you're a person with a disability, at what point do you share what your disability is with the person that you may have started a conversation with?
Well, I met my husband on an app.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It depends. Like, I'm always, like, funny because I write. Like, writing is my jam. And so in my profile, I alluded to it. I don't say what my specific disability is, but I say I'm differently abled. Like, and I say, if that's not something you can handle, I hope you like my story. Happy to have met you, even if I didn't meet you. I give them the out to, like, process the information that they're getting. Yeah. So I've always been blunt. I'm upfront. So I've always been like, this is me. And truthfully, like, having a disability, not driving, having a limited... Once online dating came to be a thing, it was a good thing for me because I could present myself without having to deal with all the preconceived notions of what people think when they see you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You can fill out as a person, but you
may not even get a conversation started because that blocks it right off.
Because that kind of explains. I always said I was different, and then, like, once we had kind of graduated to that phone call place, I always made sure it came up in that first phone call.
In the first phone call?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to make sure that they knew who they were talking to.
Yeah.
So there are 10 girls. I am that girl.
And so that's kind of why I think I was posing the question, because there's, like you say, it depends. And, I like your answer because you've kind of alluded to it, and then you're making sure it comes up but it's not the first thing out of your mouth. Hi, I'm Addie. I'm right. It's at some point in the conversation.
No,
because if you do it too soon, it's kind of icky. Is the term these days that the kids use? Say again. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, totally. Even if you just blurted out, like, I have this much money, or I have a Corvette or something, it's the same. Like, that would throw me off too. So I basically say, I always started with what I was looking for because I knew who I was. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm looking for this. Yeah. Here's who I am. And then I would blend it into the story. Yeah. And it'd be, if you're still here with me and want to learn more, let's message each other or whatever. So I might be the exception to the rule, but I found that to be better.
Well, and that's why I want to put it out to our listeners and see what their input is and, how they handle it. So hopefully we'll get some letters. We get letters.
Yeah, send us some letters. Yeah. Send us some email.
And on that note, real quick, I know when I was married, my ex, she cut hair. And, she worked in a shop and everything, but she would do certain clients, she would have them come to the house. And she ran into somebody that she knew from, like, high school, which at the time was maybe 10 years after high school. And, they got to talking and found out she cut hair. She said, well, I still cut hair at home. So she came. And I guess I was gone when she got there. And I think I came in and had somewhere else to go and then left. Well, my ex tells me later, the gal says to her, why didn't you warn me?
Yeah,
like, why didn't you warn me? What do you mean? Not a serial killer.
I know, right? Like that. Then she needs to be warned. Now she doesn't.
Yeah.
But I mean, even honestly, depending on if it's a bad buddy day or a good buddy day, in that way too, I was like more ambulatory. But it would always crack me up when you go for like the date and people would be like, "Oh, you look different than I thought," or they say like, "Oh, I didn't." I didn't think you were going to look like that or what you need. But when you find the quality people, they don't care.
Right. Exactly.
You become you, and it just evaporates. They just have to not forget you on the curb because
Yeah, it definitely can be a good thing. Qualifies. You figure out who
Honestly,
the people that you really didn't want to have anything to do with.
didn't want to know anyways.
Yeah.
And honestly, too, like it gets to test the whole thing of, how people always say in sickness and in health or whatever. I like to have that frank conversation of like, that is a thing coming for us. We know it's coming. It's not the same as like if you have a heart attack and whoops, you don't know when that was going to happen. Yeah. I do know things are going to change, and it's going to involve you.
Yes, right.
When it changes.
Yeah, I think about that more and more.
You have to have more conversations.
Yeah.
But you, like you say, it's a good weeding machine.
and I'm with you.
Consider it a favor.
I'm with you. I would say the earlier the better, but not too early so it's icky. So, in a nutshell, right? So, all right.
There you go. Now we give dating advice over here.
No. What's next?
A girl joins and we start with the dating advice. Sorry, guys. No.
All right. So coming up today, we've got an interview with Ruth Maldonado. Real quick, though, I want to thank Robert Marr last week with Guide Dogs for the Desert. I kind of wanted to get Ruth and them together. So hopefully we'll have an opportunity to talk about that in the
That was
in the
exactly when I was like, dog.
Yeah. So Ruth is the owner of Easy Mobility and the mother of a son with a disability. So we'll talk more about that right after this word from the Agyar Professional Training.
At Agyar Professional Training, we know that your greatest asset is your team. Investing in their development, knowledge, and happiness is essential for your business's success and growth. To achieve new heights, it's important to hire intelligent, talented individuals and empower them to excel in their areas of strength and passion. Agyar is committed to transforming your employees into happier, more productive, and fulfilled individuals. When your team thrives, your business prospers. Wise leaders understand that providing team members with opportunities to shine in their strengths unlocks untapped potential. Elevate your team with Agyar Professional Training and witness the growth of your business.
You're listening to Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories.
Welcome back to Walk and Roll Live. I am Doug. She is Addie, and we have our guest today, Ruth. Ruth is with us. Welcome to Walk and Roll Live. Let's start with the introduction like we do with all of our guests. Your name, where you're from, disability status, all that good stuff.
Okay, my name is Ruth Maldonado. I own Easy Mobility, durable medical equipment and supplies, orthotics and prosthetics. Disability, I think a little bit of everything. And because I think, I know it's kind of hard to explain, but I think in one way or another, I think it might take me a little bit of time to learn something. So I believe, that's disability.
Yep.
Not physically. And I live in Menifee, but I work in Riverside.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on Walk and Roll Live. And I know people that will say we all have some sort of a disability, more than others, and I tend to subscribe to that way of thinking as well. So, can you share part of your story with us, and then what's behind the founding of Easy Mobility? What inspired you to start your business?
I love this. I love what I do. That's the only answer that I kind of give everybody. I love what I do. I was blessed to go ahead and have beautiful people when I first started, when I was out of high school. And I don't see anything wrong with my job. I always wanted to be a lawyer and a doctor. So when I first started with this career, I took out a high school course, and that allowed me to go ahead and do medical billing. So the medical billing became a fitter, and I was able to read medical charts. So I said, hey, that's so perfect. I want to go ahead and keep doing this. And because I wanted to be a lawyer at one point, I like to speak, I like to talk. So
do you like to argue? Do you like to argue, Ruth?
Yeah, I like to argue. Definitely with, doctors,
Gotcha.
Doctors' office and staff. Like I said, I was blessed to have beautiful people train me. I think that's the most important thing, that if you have people that love what they're doing, that you kind of, pass down to other people. And like I said, don't, gosh, this is what I do. Every square of it, by cleaning, organizing, letting the people know, and reaching out to the doctor's office. I think that's the most important thing. Reaching out to the doctor's office and bringing out what the people need. If the doctor says, the patient needs a knee brace, all I need to do is just get the medical records, and that's why I started, and that's how it started.
So did you start it from scratch as your own business, or you went into a business with somebody else? How did that start?
I was hired as a medical assistant, medical records was option one back about 30 years ago. Just a part-time. Like I said, I started filing paperwork, and as I was reading, charts, and I started learning, what was a chart, why, people needed certain things. After that, I became customer service. Customer service allowed me to go ahead and speak to the MAs at the doctor's office, the medical assistant, and PT. So I did work for 3 companies my whole life, about 10 to 15 years for each company.
Okay.
Option one was my first one. Like I said, I started from medical records, moved out to customer service, and ended up as a manager billing. So I didn't really go to school for billing. It was just hands-on. It was back the way, no school, but I was, taught to do a little bit of everything when it came to that.
That's awesome. So you did go to school, but it was called the Learn by Doing School, which is often better for a lot of people, right? School isn't always for everybody.
Yes.
So awesome. That's amazing.
So we've had enough conversations, Ruth, that through that experience, I've learned that you weren't particularly happy with the service that organizations, that help people with DME, durable medical equipment, give, And so I think that's part of what you've committed yourself to doing is being a little bit more sensitive to people's needs and helping them and guiding them through this whole process and hopefully trying to kind of speed it up a little bit. You're dealing with government bureaucracy. So, especially where Medicare is involved. So, you got a big challenge there, but you're doing your best.
I believe the agency is not so much the problem. And, I think the, bigger companies, as we all know, we kind of lose track of, what we're here, what we need to do. For example, hospitals, PTs. And I understand, I always hear this, people get used to the same routine. My job is not a routine. Like I said, every customer, every patient, it's single, meaning every time somebody comes into my door, into my place, it's like a brand new patient, like I'm going to do my best. And it's just big companies I know people don't want to say it so loud, or they just don't want to talk about it as much because we're looking at the dollar amount. Like I said, a lot of the customers now, they come in for a cane. The doctor prescribed me a cane. I said, okay, well, then you get a cane. I don't think now these days we don't want to do a cane. Why? Because X, Y, and Z. Because maybe it's not making enough profit. Maybe, but if that's all you need, then that's all you get, and that way I'm going to get you. I think that's why I started my own business, because the more I work for companies, the less we wanted to help the little stuff, a shoe, a urinal. Like I said, that's all we need. If that's what the doctor is prescribing, that's what you're going to get. And we lost that touch with the patient that it's so comfortable for everybody to say, oh, well, it's only $20. Well, it's only $20 for us, but you don't know what their financial situation is. Like my mother's on a fixed income. So a cane for $20, it's a lot of money for other people.
Somebody may have to make the decision between $20 for that item or eating that day.
Eating. Yeah. Yes, totally.
Correct. Yes. So that's why I became, I started my own company to make sure that I'm here for everything, not only for the big items. And it's the same amount of work. I think we kind of lost that it's the same amount of work, whether it's a cane or whether it's a complex rehab chair.
Right.
Yeah. So in your experience, there were companies that just didn't want to deal with the small stuff. They want the big stuff where they're going to make more of a profit.
Unfortunately, yes. I guess that, the industry has changed back from 30 years. The allowables that Medicare, Medi-Cal, that, most of the insurance now have, they have changed. They have decreased the same amount of, paperwork still required, but it has decreased. So a lot of the companies, they're like, well, we don't make enough profit. Like I said, we make fair profit. If we didn't make enough profit, we wouldn't be here. It's just, it takes work. So I always believe, if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah.
I started with a billing with Medicare, Medi-Cal, IHP, every medical group. And as I changed companies, they kind of always complain. Like I said, it's not the agency, it's not Medicare, it's not the doctor, it's not the insurance. Me personally, my humble opinion, me personally, I have never had an issue with Medicare or Medi-Cal or any other insurance if we follow the protocol of what we need to obtain from the doctor's office.
Yeah. So let's address it from this way. So, obviously everybody can't come to you as much as we would love that. But so is there any advice you can give to customers out there if they don't have the privilege of coming and seeing you? Is there a way they can kind of approach it that they can get the best and maybe quickest outcome for themselves when they need something?
Yeah, I always been lucky to reach out to Medicare or Medi-Cal. They've always been very helpful. I have not come across of anybody in that agency that have said, "Oh, I don't have an answer for you." If they don't have an answer, they will look for a phone number or some kind of form to help you. I always say, look, if you have a question, always reach out to your insurance company. That's the best thing. The doctor's office don't know, because that's not what they're trained to do. It's my job to let the patient know, hey, if we cannot get a certain diagnosis from the doctor, hey, let me reach out to the insurance company to see what they need. So I always advise, reach out to your own insurance company and say, hey, doctor ordered this item. Is it covered? Is it not covered? It might be different on each medical group, whether it's covered or not covered. But again, even if you do have the medical groups, there's always other agencies that can help you to obtain what you need. Again, if you do the homework, we just have to, go out there and find who's going to help us. How can we get this? But there is a lot of help out there.
That's awesome. So you're advocating basically for people that don't have the luxury of you to be an advocate for themselves, but start at the right starting point so you can get what you need, is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's important that we remember that, you get a prescription from the doctor's office saying, hey, I need a cane. The doctor's office is doing his job. It's not the doctor's office, because I know a lot of customers say, well, the doctor told me that it would be covered. No, the doctor wrote a prescription of what you need. It's up to us, DME companies, to go ahead and educate the patient to say, hey, okay, let me go ahead and find out. Let me go ahead and give you, ABC, because there is, procedures. There is certain guidelines through insurance that we have to follow. Like I said, there is certain things, but explaining it to the patient, letting them know, hey, you don't qualify because you don't have the right diagnosis, then that's something different. But we cannot just let the patient, oh, it's not covered, or, oh, it's I think that the main thing that people use all this time is it's just a cane. It's just, such an inexpensive item. It doesn't matter what it is. Like I said, if it's covered and if the doctor is prescribing it and if you qualify, then we should go ahead and provide it.
So in that case, whatever it is, if it's a small item or large, if you run into any kind of issue, then that's a conversation that has to happen between you as the provider, the doctor who's prescribing it, and the patient, so you can all get on the same page and move things ahead efficiently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
yes.
You've been in the industry for a while. Any innovations lately that you've seen come along? You've probably seen changes quite a bit over the last 20, 30 years.
I think one of the biggest things that hurt the industry was, and a lot of people don't even understand, even us sometimes don't understand it because it was so hard at one point, it was the competitive bidding with Medicare. What that means is back in the days, Medicare patients can go anywhere, any DME company, they can, but back, I want to say maybe 15 years ago, that changed. So what happened is Medicare decided to say, wait, there's too many companies out there doing pretty much, providing everything. So what they did is they put a competitive bidding. What it was just like a lottery. Companies like myself, whether you were big or small, they bid on items. For example, on power chairs, that was one of the main things. Power chairs, they said, okay, you say 5 companies, you, myself, and other 5 companies, they say, okay, I want to get paid $500 for this power chair. So we bid on it. How they determine who won was a big deal. As we still don't understand. I personally don't understand how, there were small companies that got the contract. So what that means, it was good for that small company. The problem is a lot of us, we were not ready because now instead of having 2, 3, 5 customers every month, now we had 30 customers because you were the company who won that bid. So, and the allowable, again, the amount that we got reimbursed was a little less.
Right. But now having more customers, does that allow you to then increase your capacity, maybe hire some new people to help with that larger?
Correct. But, like I said, not everybody was ready for that, especially small companies. Yeah.
But having more access to winning those contracts, then that allowed you to start kind of making that turn and getting more employees to keep up with it.
Correct. Yes. And sometimes that, that was, but see, one of the things is even if we had customers from LA and my store was in Marietta, like I said, it became a little hard for small
some challenges there.
Because,
absolutely.
Yes. A lot of challenges. So, everything changed a little bit, due to COVID. So they went back to, okay, other companies can start doing
COVID, that COVID again.
Yes,
darn
COVID.
it.
Yes, COVID. But COVID was, like I said, it actually allowed us back in, that's why I'm here, because it allowed us to go ahead and be part of the team again, not just the company who bid on it. For, orthotics and prosthetics was one of the other items that went into effect too.
Sure.
But right now, due to COVID, it kind of slowed down for a bit. So it gets a little complicated. Like I said, that I tried a couple of courses through Medicare, and it's hard to, to explain it to the patient. Oh, I couldn't help you because of competitive bidding. Now you have to go through this company. And then this other company said, well, we have so much volume that you have to wait 2, 3, 4 months for your item to arrive. Yep. And that's, cutting it short 2, 3 months. I mean, I have customers who've been waiting on power chairs or manual wheelchairs for 7 to 9 months.
Yeah, I'm raising my hand because I'm one of those, and I'm trying to be as patient as I can be. And I have a working chair, so it's no big deal. I kind of worry about the folks that, maybe they had more of a need, an immediate need, and are having to deal with that. But I'm okay. I'm not crying. All right. So, hey, I want to ask you, as we kind of wrap up this portion, just for easy mobility, how do you stay up to date with, that ever changing technologies, new innovations, those kinds of things in equipment?
So we train with every vendor that comes into my store. I try to make sure that they educate me. That's the main thing, that, you allow yourself to be educated. I think that's one of the main things. I don't believe in, I've been doing this for too long, I know what I'm doing. I can always learn from anybody or somebody every day. My patients are one of the ones that they teach me a lot. Because what do you, you ask a 20-year-old, that you can learn from them as much as you can learn from an 80-year-old woman, or, it's just, that's how we get, we still go to training, we still do everything, but the main thing is the vendors that would come in. Again, each product that we put out there is so important that we understand. And like I said, us fitters, us billers, we have a great responsibility towards the patient. Why? Because you come to me asking, hey, can I get this? My job is to go reach out to the doctor's office and make sure that I do everything in my power that if the patient qualifies, that the patient's going to go ahead and get whatever the doctor wants them to get. That's my goal, that, to give out whatever the patient needs at that point.
Yeah. I love that attitude. I wish more people had that kind of attitude to serve their customers, right?
Yeah. The patients are super lucky when they land with you, because you have a service first attitude and you treat them like people, not paperwork. I think that's one of the hard things that's lost.
I think durable medical equipment, home medical equipment, prosthetics, however you want to call it, it's not that you wanting to come to my store and buying shoes. It's something that you need. It's something that we need. Yeah. So it's not something that, I just decided to wake up in the middle of the, and go to a medical store and say, hey, I want to buy a toilet seat. We don't do that. We don't have that. And like I said, so we have a lot of responsibility, because whoever comes in here, they don't know. A lot of the time they get discharged from the hospital with just a piece of paper. I don't know if you guys have ever been discharged from hospital. They want to read you like 20 to 30 different things for you to do. You don't remember none of them.
No.
Once you get home.
Exactly.
It's like bringing the baby home. Once you bring the baby home, where's the manual? Well, you don't get one. So so you reach out to me, you come to me, and you'd be surprised. Like I said, a urinal for us girls. A lot of people don't even know that we have urinals, catheters, a shoehorn, just to put, every little item that we have in the store, it's used at one point, and it's needed at one point for somebody, whether you're a baby, whether you're 90 or 101.
Right.
So, Ruth, thank you for all of that information, but time to kind of turn the corner here a little bit. And, we've been talking for a little while because a past guest, Leonard Ortega, recommended you to me. And so we've had a number of conversations over the last few months, and I know you've been apprehensive about coming on. So, thank you. Thank you for, finding the courage and coming and talking with us. And we want to learn more about your son, Eric. So you are the parent of a young man with a disability. And, let's start learning a little bit more about Eric, pre his whole journey with his disability starting. What kind of kid was Eric?
Eric has always been a very, very respectful kid. I mean, he's the boy. My mom had 5 of us. So in the family, it's all girls except him. He's the only male. So he was just in video games, just because, there were so many girls, and, they play, but, you can't hit the girls. So, he kind of kept himself pretty busy just on his video games, just very quiet, not much. And me personally, as a mom, people would always tell me, hey, don't you let him go out. He went out, but I said, hey, if he's happy where he's at, let him be.
Pretty typical teenager too.
Yeah, I was going to say, my 15-year-old nephew, you have to literally turn off the lights or unplug the thing to say something.
But you know what? At one point, if you think about it like a parent, me personally, again, it's which one is better. I don't think there's a better, but it's, for me, peace of mind, not worried about, if he's going to get hurt, or if if he's going to be around with the wrong people. Yes. Yeah. Again, it's a mama bear, 100%. Yes. Because obviously the dad would say, hey, you need to let him fly. I say, yeah, I know. But why break it if it's not, why fix it if it's not broken, right? So so we've been very quiet. He did good in school. In high school, we found out that his vision was poor. The reason why we found out is because he couldn't read the board, the whiteboard. Right. In the beginning, you know, when we first saw a couple of doctors, they thought he was colorblind.
Interesting.
That went for a while, but nope. And it wasn't the green, you know, board. It was just the white with the writing. So we made a couple of attempts to have the teachers use a different board. You know, I'm sure you guys know the teachers don't have the best writing. So let alone with people who cannot see or have, you know, I don't understand why they just can't write properly. Sort of like us when we have to read the doctor's office. I mean, the doctor's prescription. People are like, how can you read them? Yeah, we get used to it. But so that was during high school, his first year of high school. Then it became to maybe it was an optic nerve. So it was a guessing game for quite a bit.
Guessing game to figure out what the exact diagnosis was?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So we actually don't have a official diagnosis for
even
him.
to this day.
Even to this day.
Wow.
Yes.
And this has been now how many years?
Oh, it's been, 15 years?
Wow.
50 years.
Wow,
yeah.
That's got to be frustrating, Ruth.
It was. I mean, it is.
Mm-hmm. So are you still looking? I mean, are you still actively getting tests for new innovative tests maybe that might sort this out?
So the last test that he had, we were told that the devices for the exams that he gets they're not up to date yet to a point that they can see why is it that he can see certain things or he cannot see certain things. So they said, what we have as a medical device, his vision is so poor that we cannot tell exactly what's wrong with him. Sort of like, one of those things that's what we were told. So what do we do? What's next? Surgery? Right. There's no surgery for that because, like I said, if they cannot have a diagnosis, then there's really little that we can look for.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's like, not knowing what your destination is. You can't get the map out to figure out how to get someplace you don't know where you're going.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes. I know people have reached out to us and they say, technology have obviously improved phones, cars, but certain things, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have same thing, they think the same thing as, if we cannot figure out a cure for cancer at this point, again, it's almost like the same thing.
Right. So what changes did you have to make in your lifestyle and your life to kind of adapt to that? I mean, did he get glasses that can improve it or it really doesn't improve it? So you have to move the house around or keep the house out?
No, we kept the house as he's so good. He knows his home upside down, right? He goes, I mean, sometimes I'm so surprised how he runs up and down the stairs with, a plate so he knows the house really good. I did, again, Mama Bear, I cleaned and I would move stuff around and like I said, little stuff that we don't understand. And even me as a mother would move stuff around and he would say, Mom, can I ask you a favor? I said, yeah, of course. He said, if you are going to move stuff, can you please put it back where it was? So I never thought about it like, hey, why? But then as I think about it, it's like, oh yeah, right. So you little stuff like that, that we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, that's for my son, but for every customer or every patient that has vision impaired, we don't realize. And then because I have people who come in and say, oh yeah, my mom or my dad or my grandpa or my grandma, they get mad because I move stuff around. No, it's not that they get mad. We just don't think why they need it, where they left it. So yeah.
So has he been able to get any technology to help them? There's so many apps
He
now
did.
for, how's that improved his life?
He did. He learned when he was in high school. He was learning Braille. He
Awesome.
also learned how to, use the blind cane, crossing the streets. He got a very bright light. Again, everybody's a little different. That's why it's hard to say, because based on what the doctor said, he needs a bright light. Well, for him, it bothers him. Again, and then, for example, a lot of people say, well, why don't he wear his dark glasses? Well, because, and he even says, okay, he cannot see anything in the dark at night. That's how we kind of found out. The reason why is because I love Halloween, and we used to go Halloween, trick-or-treating every year. Well, that was one of the signs. So, again, putting him in dark glasses, or putting anybody, again, without them actually knowing, he said, it makes no sense, Mom. Why would they give me dark glasses if I cannot see in the dark?
Right.
And again,
complicating the situation.
Only he knows. Yes.
Complicating the situation
Exactly.
based on assumptions. We all have looked at that.
Yes. So that was one, for example, we had issues. He would wear a watch just because he was a boy, and, I still wanted to go ahead. And so I was always an advocate. I was always in school. Everybody knew me in his high school. Because the teacher would say, well, if he wears a watch, he can see the time. No, not necessarily, sir. Just because you do something, that doesn't mean that, So we'd always kind of get ourselves in trouble.
Another assumption.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what they say, but I can't say that.
Yeah. And like I said, it's harder for kids in high school or in school. One of the other things that he got, it was an assistant to take notes for him. Okay, so they would take notes. Listen to this. They would take notes. The girl who would write the notes, very nice. I'm thankful. But the writing was horrible. I couldn't even read it. And I'm able to see.
It's a mismatch. I had a note taker in high school too, and I totally understand what you're saying. That it's helpful, but it isn't helpful if you can't discern what somebody said.
Yeah.
Correct.
And this is coming from somebody who reads doctor prescriptions.
Right. Exactly.
But and if they did write the notes, again, your understanding, it's different than my understanding. So when when she was writing notes, it was her understanding, not my son's understanding. So obviously his memory, was better than mine. His, because he has to catch everything we say. He knows everybody by their voice. Yep. He can hear. His hearing is a lot better than a lot of people. I mean, he can hear. That he can hear. I don't know if you guys even know, when you plug in your cell phone. Yeah. The plug-in, the cord has a little compressor, or however you want to call it, inside that. He can hear that. So again, so there's a lot of help, but that doesn't necessarily that is the best help. Yeah. And I think that's why my career and my store, that's why I don't want that to happen. I want to make sure that I can help as much as I can, whoever needs it. Same thing with my son. One of the other things that happened is the science teacher, they were doing science, right? Mm-hmm. She didn't want him in the class. Why? Because we're doing science. I said, okay.
She didn't want the the ASL in the class?
The science.
So she didn't want him near chemicals and things, because I'm assuming?
Yeah, chemicals. Yes.
Oh, no, yes. I'm sorry. I didn't understand. What?
She didn't want him in science because he couldn't see. So if you were to spill a chemical...
Oh, your son. Didn't want your son in the class.
Yeah, the teacher was being ignorant.
Yeah, I thought you meant didn't want the signer in the class. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, no.
Being ignorant. Yep, you're right. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, so... Yeah, that was the...
so I have a question, just because I was a disabled person in high school, and I know what that was like. So how was it for your son experiencing it like from freshman year and then, adapting to friend groups and things? How did they take it besides, and how did he blend? High school sucks
my
anyway.
son has all, and how we're always very thankful. I'm sure, everybody who has a disability at the end of the day finds to be thankful for everything. He has never complained about his disability.
Yeah.
So for him, at that point in high school, what I know, I think it's when he was in one room. I don't know if you've been in just that one room. Every class was normal. It was just one period that they go to.
Yeah. So it was mainstream.
I don't know. I don't know if your high school was the same, but it was just one, because that was my main thing. My main thing is make sure that he doesn't get labeled.
Yes.
Because being in a wheelchair, obviously everybody can see that you're in a wheelchair. Or other disabilities. With him, because he doesn't have his blind cane and his dark glasses, it was harder for everybody. He wants to make sure that he blends with everybody. Just like I'm sure everybody wants to make sure that everybody blends with everybody.
Yep.
Right. Did you find that he had a good friend group, or was it difficult, or how did that play out for him?
I think in high school, it's hard to have a good friend, right? But he does have a very good friend that we known he knows his whole life. His name is Miguel. Very nice friend.
Hi, Miguel.
Hi, Miguel. Talking about you.
But,
Yeah, we're assuming you're going to be listening. See you later. Good to see you.
Right? Yeah, I'll let him know.
Oh, very nice.
He has good friends, but he also had bad friends.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So
No
he
matter your
had the full high school experience.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I think whether with disability or not, we come across those good friends and bad friends that, some of us still remember from high school. Some of them you don't want to remember from high school.
Yep.
Amen.
It's funny because I remember them, but I don't remember anything about them. Does that make sense? I don't know their name.
Yeah.
I couldn't pick them out of a lineup, but I could tell you why I hate them.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I mean, if people see me around, they're like, yeah, I remember you. I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry. I don't remember you. It's just, I guess, and I always say I miss high school so much, but it was because it was me in high school, not them. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But going back to so that class, he was learning Braille. One of the girls who was teaching him Braille, she was born blind. I remember her telling me, very sweet girl. She said, you know what, ma'am? She used to tell me, Eric learned so fast Braille. I couldn't even do it. And she said, and I've been blind my whole life. I said, well, thank you. That gave me hope.
Yeah.
100%. Yes.
So what do you think going forward? What are your hopes for his independence? To have as much independence as possible.
Oh, that's hard. Mm-hmm. I think as a mother. Ooh. I think you would have to have him.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, you know what? He will surprise you because I can speak from personal experience that I grew up in California. I signed up and did Teach for America, moved across the country by myself, literally right after college.
And she couldn't drive, didn't drive.
And I still don't drive.
Still don't drive.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think he'll surprise you. Give him the room and he'll blow you away. From a personal standpoint of I had to do it. You just got to let him jump. And I always tell my mom I got some dirt in my knees, but I know how to stand back up because that's what she taught me to do. Yeah. So I'm sure you taught him to do that too.
Yeah. There was an incident very funny when he was, so he had a deaf or mute friend in his class. And one day I had to pick them up, right? And it was a little late. It was dark. And he said, Mom, isn't this funny? I said, we're here. Like I said, he always has that humor. He said, I can't see and he can hear. Great. What are we going to do? Right? And we're like, yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Yes. It's like, what do we do? So going back to the question is, what mother doesn't want the best for their kids?
Yeah.
Right. Right. That's built into you. Once you become a mom, even if you're a dog mom, you want the best for whoever, you know what I mean? And you want the biggest dreams to come true for them. You're just trepidatious about what that looks like or what kind of bumps along the road. But I think whether you're able-bodied or disabled, every parent fears that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a little bit deeper. It's a little bit deeper when you're different.
Yeah. You're maybe a little more protective, but you got to let them fly. So one last thing, because we're kind of running short on time here, and I know you're at work. You got to get back to work.
You got to work.
Yeah. So just one last thing, just, maybe if there's some advice you would give parents going through something similar, is there any little nugget that could help them out?
Get help.
This helps, having this conversation? Oh.
We're happy to help.
Yeah.
Find a support group. Find the people that will help you laugh while you cry,
Yeah.
I would think. And
you've
done a great job. You should know that.
Yes.
For not only your son, but everybody you help every day that gets treated like a person when they walk into your place. That changes their life. So you should be proud of yourself. No, you should be proud of yourself. Don't be sorry, be proud.
Yeah.
Every person puts a sparkle in the world. Your ripple is a deep ripple because you help so many people that are stuck. They can't help themselves. Yeah. The universe makes no accidents to give you somebody who needed a little more help because you were worthy of the journey.
Yeah, but I think talking helps.
Good.
And I think it's the culture that doesn't allow us to help as much as we want to.
Right. Well, hopefully people that listen to this will see you start the culture change and see that there's a way to be a business owner like you and do it and be brave like you were, because you said you were very young when you started. So you've been a brave soul from the get-go. You just don't always.
I love what I do. And I hope, if I could be any help. And I always tell customers, come in. If you don't have to buy anything, I can always, if they need any help on paperwork, calling the doctor's office, just guide them to what do we do? How can we get this? How can I help? I'm always here.
And the world is better because of you.
Yeah. All right. 2 things before we go. Want to let everybody know that if you want to get a hold of Ruth, I'm going to have her information up on our resources page, Easy Mobility. And the other thing is, thank you. We're honored that you chose us to tell your story, because we've been talking for a while, and I know you were very reluctant, and you did a great job, informing us about yourself and your son and giving us some hope. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you,
Ruth.
I also want to say one thing. He does have a sister, who's Vanessa. Vanessa has been an amazing sister.
Siblings are awesome.
Yes, siblings do a lot more than parents. You'd be surprised. Siblings, because they don't have attachment. They have attachment, but not like mommy, not like mom and dad.
Yeah.
They can tell, they can go out to the brother or the sister and say, hey, get it together.
Yes.
What do you need?
Yeah.
What?
We're doing it.
They're direct without a filter, right?
Yes.
That's awesome.
So siblings take a lot of responsibilities, and us parents sometimes forget about those siblings.
Yeah.
Vanessa, right?
So shout out to Vanessa.
All right. Vanessa, keep it up.
I appreciate it.
Keep it up, Vanessa. Keep it up. All right, we're going to let you go back to work. We're going to let you go back to work. Have a great day. Thank you very much, Ruth, for coming on.
So nice to meet you, Ruth. It was a great story.
Nice meeting you too, likewise. Thank you so much.
Each week on Walk and Roll Live, we share honest and open stories of people loving with a disability.
Came out of my shower. I slid on a puddle of water and flew up. I don't know, my legs went up higher than my head, landed on the beam of the shower, lost all sensation in my legs. Within like a second, I knew I was paralyzed without knowing I was paralyzed.
Join us weekly for another powerful episode. Walk and Roll Live wherever you get your podcasts. Life Limitless. Subscribe now.
This is Walk and Roll Live with Doug Vincent and Addie Rich.
Welcome back to Walk and Roll Live. We're glad to have you here.
Absolutely. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe. We appreciate that. Anything coming up this week besides maybe cleaning the basement?
I was going to say, cleaning the basement. I don't know. I'm excited. It's a new month. New months feel like so great because, it's a reset.
Halloween's coming.
Halloween is coming, but we can't decide now with all the weather changes. Last year, we went up and we're at our camper, and they do a trick-or-treat around the RV place, which is
very nice.
Fun and cute. The kids are adorable.
And that was my next question. How does that impact going to the camper?
I don't know. I mean, the river was all the way up. It crossed the boundaries. Our lot is not on that side, but it did do damage to the lot. And I'm like, well, we have a basement to clean here, so leaving doesn't sound like ideal.
So I saw pictures on your social media of the camper. Somebody broke in and put a bunch of stuff in there, evidently.
Yeah, it wasn't the squirrels. The squirrels did it. I tell you.
That's it. So you made it up there.
No, we're cleaning it at the house.
Oh, at the house before you go up to your
because it'll be a seasonal change. Because when I was staying in, it was in August, and so now you need the winter clothes because it does get in the 30s. So I was doing the swap out, but I was like, while I'm in here, I might as well clean my desk. And I swear, the elves. My dad used to say there were elves at Christmas time. I swear they live in my camper
in the off season.
In the off season, when they knew it was empty, they were like, "We're in here. We're going to bring lots of work papers."
And they pile up a bunch of stuff. Yeah, well, I'm going to the Action Club convention. I don't know if you heard of Kiwanis, right?
Yes.
And they have leadership in high schools, Key Club, and college, Key Wins, I believe, and that kind of thing, and Builders Club in elementary school. So this is the Action Club, which is intellectually and developmentally disabled adults. So they go up there once a year for their convention, and this is probably my at least 10th trip that I've gone up. So I take a few of the consumers and pile them in my van, and we head on up there. I think the whole group is 20 or 30 people, and probably a couple hundred. Fun. And it's a I don't know what they call it these days. I'm old, so we used to call it a dude ranch kind of a thing, where it's like a resort in the mountains that's got horseback riding and all kind. They have a little lake there. They have all these different things that they could do, and they do service projects, and they have competitions where they, do a speech about service and all these, and eat. They love to eat. So we're doing that this weekend. So I'll talk about that next week exactly. And let us know if you'd like to be on the show or have a good idea for an episode. We'd love to hear that. Want to hear your input. Putting more resources on the resource page all the time, so check out what's new there. And next week we have Lauren Burke. She's with Possibilities and wants to tell the story of her son. So another kind of a mother.
Nice. We're into duos. We're into duos lately.
Exactly. So again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Any final words, Miss Rich?
Have a great week, guys. We appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're glad you're here.
Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Doug Vincent, with Addie Rich from the Aguiar Professional Training Studio. This has been Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories, Life Limitless.
Walk and roll life. Life's the best. Walk and roll life. Life limitless.
insight found in every voice. Together we make our choice. Strength and wisdom grow within. This is where our tales begin. Walking roll up, we stand so tall, breaking barriers, breaking walls, creating space where all belong. In our unity we're strong. Trusted sources by our side, guiding us with every stride. Empowerment is our goal, filling every missing role. Awareness spreading like the dawn, independence carries on. In this vibrant space we find peace of heart and peace of mind. Walk and roll up, we stand so tall, breaking barriers, breaking walls, creating space where all belong. In our unity we're strong. Sources by our side, guiding us with every stride. Empowerment is our goal, filling every missing role. Awareness spreading like the dawn, independence carries on. In this vibrant space we find peace of heart and peace of mind. Peace of heart and peace of mind. Walk and roll up, we stand so tall, breaking barriers, breaking walls, creating space where all belong.